You know how sometimes videos like this one are called things like should I get the new iPhone, but what they actually mean is should you get the new iPhone? Well, this one is just should I get the new iPhone. It's all about me. Well, that didn't go to plan at all, but it was nice to get out in the mountains and enjoy the fresh air and peace and quiet before I have to go back to the city and its noise. Right, back in the city, and it's absolutely freezing. Also, you know when you buy something and you wear it a couple of times and then you become unsure of it? Yeah. Right, I should probably explain what those clips were about. A few weeks ago I did a video about full frame cameras and how they were too heavy and it was just annoying carrying the weight around, and how I was selling all my full frame gear because I couldn't be bothered anymore. And that drew quite a few comments that had two main points. Number one, go to the gym, which I did do. And even though I'm a bit fitter and stronger now, I still don't feel the need to carry weight around pointlessly. Weird. And number two was just use my phone. Now, I don't typically take that many photos on my phone normally because I carry around a camera like this, which is just better at taking the photos I want to take. But it got me thinking, what would a phone camera need to be able to do in order for me to not have to carry something like this around? So I went home to Wales, walked up Snowdon in the hope of making a video all about that, and it was going quite well. And then the weather happened. It's a couple of weeks after the iPhone 10 or X or Kiss has just been released, and it's £1,000. And if I'm going to spend £1,000 on a phone, then it's got to be able to replace this too. Now, before I go through any of the features that I'd like to see on a phone's camera, it's worth saying that a lot of the ones I'm going to talk about you can actually get in like third-party apps and stuff, but that doesn't really count. A lot of time when you have phone updates, the apps don't update either. Apps can crash all the time. There's always compatibility issues. So these features I'd want to see inbuilt into like the primary camera apps of phones in order for me to take them seriously. Yeah, so hopefully that'll avoid any confusion or me looking like I've been sleeping under a rock for 3 years. And first up, I should probably say that I'm like the furthest thing from a smartphone expert, so there's a good chance that I'll say things that are completely untrue, or I'll have missed phone releases that have got the features that I'm talking about and stuff. So yeah, if I talk absolute nonsense, forgive me and please let me know how wrong I am in the comments. Feature number one is raw images. Now, phone cameras are never going to produce the most detailed of files, but if we got all the raw information, we'd be able to do a little bit more than you can with the current JPEGs. Now, as I said, there are third-party apps that you can get the raw stuff from, but we've been there, we've done that. So yeah, I'd like to see Apple and Samsung give you the option of capturing raw files, not just JPEGs. That'd be good. Number two is bracketing. Now, HDR features are pretty commonplace now on phones, which is very much appreciated because, well, the cameras haven't got the best dynamic range in the world, but HDR is quite limited. The camera does it all for you. You've got no control over how much detail's pulled in from the different images. It'd be great if you could take 3 or 5 different exposures and then you can do what you want with them. That would be awesome. Number 3 is manual exposure. Now, typically as far as I've seen, phones' cameras do a pretty good job of controlling exposure, but if I want to do like a long exposure of light trails and stuff, I can't, because I can't select my shutter speed manually. And that's annoying. So yeah, manual controls would make a big difference. Autofocus is another one, particularly tracking autofocus. On phones, as far as I know, you can't track subjects, which means taking photos of some things is quite tricky. Yeah, that would be good. Although I don't know how they would fit that technology into they're cleverer than me, so they'll figure it out. Raw bracketing, manual exposure, autofocus, accessories. I remembered accessories for. I don't know why I keep holding this up, you know what an iPhone looks like. Yeah, accessories for the iPhone. So, you've probably seen you can get like lots of little lenses and stuff that you can stick on the back of an iPhone. Very handy, particularly for the old ones, because as you can see, this one has only got one lens. And it's quite a wide lens, it's the equivalent of 20 something. So it's good for some stuff, not so good for others, so having the ability to strap other lenses to it, very good. Not so much needed on the newer ones because they've got two lenses. They've got a telephoto, which is actually equivalent of about 56mm, which is not telephoto really, but it's a good start. It means you need to digital zoom less, and digital zooming is rubbish because it's basically like cropping and just making the pixels bigger. Always looks naff. So any tools that you can use to avoid that, whether it's a lens on the back of the camera or an external lens on the back of the camera, is a good thing. But I would also like to see other accessories. Things like a wireless flash kit, transceivers, a wireless trigger remote, all the tools that you get on other cameras that would make shooting on an iPhone or any kind of phone much easier. I would very much like to see that kind of thing. And there are a few other bits that tie into like the manual controls. I'd like to see more control over things like white balance. I'd like a display that shows a histogram, things like that. But largely all of the things that I've spoken about are just software updates. You know, if Apple or Samsung or whoever wanted to give us the raw files from the pictures, surely that's not a particularly difficult thing to do. And likewise, if they wanted to give us manual control of the exposure, that again can't be that difficult a thing to do. So hopefully if enough people ask for it in the future, we'll get it. But until then, I don't think I'm going to upgrade to the £1,000 iPhone Kiss because I'm just going to carry around my point and shoot still, which has all of the things like manual controls that I was talking about. I will be getting rid of this hat though. Anyway, thank you very much for watching a video that I don't think anybody asked for. I very much appreciate it. Hopefully it might have been useful to one or two of you. Oh, also before you go, if you're in the market by any chance for a coffee table sort of book entitled Impossible Photography, you might pick one up and you might find yourself turning to 100 page 24. Where yours truly features, admittedly towards the back. But it's a very good book, packed with lots of awesome images, put together by much more talented people than me. Yeah, it's worth checking out. I don't know if it's out yet, actually. I've just realised as I'm saying this. If it is, I'll put a link in the description. If it's not, I'll put a link in the description of the video closest to the release. Yeah, you'll hear about it again. Anyway, I'll see you next time.